Awesome. So it's officially 1 o'clock. So let's get this party started. I'm excited to see so many of you who've tuned into this session. My name is Taylor Dooley, and I work at IUPUI for our School of Informatics and Computing. And today, in about 30 minutes, I want to talk to you about some careers related to computer science and technology and informatics and UX and UI design and creative digital media, because we have some really cool programs in our school. I'm going to post a link in the chat, and this is a link to a form where if at any point you would like to get some more information, or if you want to reach out to me directly, you can fill this out and you'll get an email from me. If we have any seniors here who have not applied to IUPUI yet, I will also send you a free application code. But let's go ahead and get started. I just need to move forward here. All right, there we go. Boom. So I mentioned that I work at IUPUI, and if you are unfamiliar with IUPUI, we are a college, a university in downtown Indianapolis. I'm sitting here in my office, and I can see Salesforce Tower, Monument Circle, the Capitol, so we are right downtown here in the city. Now, this slide has a bunch of numbers about us, but the big takeaways here is that we're a pretty big university. We got about 30,000 total students, over 500 majors to choose from, but we're pretty unique. First of all, we have a long name, IUPUI. Our name is also a palindrome, meaning it's the same forwards and backwards. IUPUI and IUPUI. Fun fact about us. But our name stands for Indiana University and Purdue University, Indianapolis. So we are a partnership between both IU and Purdue, but located here in the city in a third campus. What that means for our students is that when you come here, you are an IUPUI student. We have our own residence halls, our own Division I athletics, the IUPUI Jaguars, our own student organizations, our own fraternity and sorority organizations, but you don't receive an IUPUI degree at graduation. You get a degree from either Indiana University, IU, or Purdue, depending on your major. So at IUPUI, all engineering and all science, those are all pretty much Purdue degrees. And everything else, including the informatics program I'm going to talk about today, are all IU degrees, if that makes a difference to you. But I'm not here to talk to you about everything related to IUPUI. I want to talk to you about informatics because I think we're doing some pretty cool stuff in our program. Now, first of all, we are a department that has 6 majors to choose from, and all of our programs are founded on this concept of informatics. And we define informatics as how people and technology connect. So that makes us a bit different than some things like computer engineering or computer science. Our friends in computer engineering are focusing much more on the hardware and electrical engineering components of computers as machines. Our friends in computer science are really focusing on programming languages, software development, and how we're teaching computers to think and to do the tasks we want them to do. In our program, our students are examining how can we design technology to be better, to be more user-friendly, to be more accessible for people with disabilities, to be used in new ways to solve problems around us. So our students are getting a strong background in programming and coding, but they're taking a lot of problem solving and design thinking classes. So they can then use the skills they have to solve problems and to create projects for clients. So a lot of numbers on this screen as well. Big takeaway here is we're a very career-oriented program. Our students are learning the skills that employers want to see. 87% of our students have a job at graduation. They are being hired by around 100 big companies. Indianapolis is a huge rising tech city, as I'm sure you all know. We've got some great companies here like Salesforce, Infosys, Genesis, Lilly Pharmaceuticals. All of this translates to internship, research, and job opportunities for our students. But today we're going to spend most of our time kind of breezing through the 6 degrees we have to offer and some other resources we have at our school. We've got programs in informatics, applied data and information science, a brand new degree in artificial intelligence, 2 programs related to computing in the healthcare world, biomedical informatics and health information management, and a very creative program in media arts and science. In this program, you can focus on game design and development, video production and sound design, 3D graphics and animation, web design and development, and something called digital storytelling. But I actually want to show you a video that further explains how we define informatics.
A way to connect people and information.
It was XML, it was HTML.
Oh, I think it's connections. future of computing.
It is technology, it is media, it is everything that you see on the internet, it's everything with information.
Connect people, connect technology, connect information. The window to the future. It's something that is here, is necessary.
We need somebody that can touch on some 3D and can do some video and possibly make a website for us.
Take the data and to make sense of it and to use it to kind of improve our life, people's lives. It's a way to connect people with ideas and technology.
So that's a bit more about us. And Mariano in the chat said that they remember this video, and I do a lot of presentations in high school. So yeah, yep, I did present at your high school. So if you've met me before at your high school, then it's great to see you again in this presentation. So that's a bit more of how we talk about informatics in our school. But now let's dive in and let's talk about some of these programs and majors. So the first program I want to talk about is our namesake degree in informatics. This program, we're going to take back-end programming classes. You're going to learn some HTML, some Java, some JavaScript, but you're going to take a lot of Python, SQL, R, C++, C#, and learn how to develop different kinds of applications using these programming languages. But then you're going to take a lot of design thinking classes like information infrastructure and accessibility issues in technology and issues in new media, and learning about how we use technology as human beings, how to design things that are intuitive, that make sense, and how to do a lot of problem solving with tech. This degree, those two areas are pretty broad, so we require you to choose a specialization, narrow that down, and apply these skills in a specific area. So you can actually specialize in every area in any area of study at IUPUI. So here are some really popular specializations. One of our more popular ones is business, the digital humanities, legal informatics. So you can also dive into another area that we may not offer within informatics itself. But I want to show you another video with student work in it, because this is what our students are actually doing. I think this is a better way to explain what's going on in this program. So the first example in this video is one of our former students named Kyle. He completed an internship with a company in downtown Indianapolis called Cluster Truck. They're a food delivery service. He did data analytics on the back end of their mobile app that people use to order food. So he actually worked with their marketing team to track how many people used certain promo codes that were used in their marketing campaigns. He also did some inventory management work with them. Now, this is a really cool research project done by students and faculty. They designed a screenless typing keyboard for people that are blind or visually impaired. So they actually interviewed members of the blind community in Indianapolis, found out there's a technology gap. There's not a keyboard on the market where if you're blind, you can kind of type and walk on the go without talking into a device. So they designed a keyboard that does not look like one at all. It's an armband that you wear. It's connected to an audio device. The audio device is saying letters at a very quick rate, and you actually make hand motions to type when you hear the letter you want to type. So it's a complete reimagining of what a keyboard looks like by taking into account the needs of the end user, the human being who needs to use that piece of technology. Now, here's a couple concepts our students are learning about. One of them is device design. So how we're designing devices to fit on our wrists, in our pockets, and what shapes and colors and words we're using, and if it makes sense for the user, if it's intuitive in its design. Our students are also learning about something called IoT, the Internet of Things. So all of our devices are connected and talking to one another and doing tasks together. So this woman just unlocked her front door with her smart watch, which automatically set her smart thermostat. And now she's at her smart fridge that has all of her data seamlessly on it. So all these networks and connections don't happen by accident. Someone has to design them, figure out how they're going to talk to each other, and figure out what are better ways our devices can work together to do tasks we would find useful in our daily lives. So that is some work happening in our informatics program. Now, our informatics students, they're doing great after graduation. 92% of them have a full-time job at graduation. They're making about $55,000 in that first job out of college. They're being hired by some big technology companies and getting job titles like Senior Human Factors Engineer, Application Consultant, and more. Now, the next program I want to talk to you about is our Applied Data and Information Science degree. Data is everything in our world at the moment. It's basically a currency, and every organization out there employs data scientists to help them make sense of information. So this degree is training you to manage information, and there's two paths you can go down. The first one is applied data science. This is a bit more math, statistics, and calculus. And it's training you to be the actual data scientist, finding trends and patterns in data sets and databases. It's also training you on how to visualize information, how to turn that into charts and graphs so other people can see what you found. The second path you can go down is an applied information science, a bit less math, more focused on the social and ethical implications of data. So analyzing where are we getting data from, whether it's from sources we trust, how we're using it in ways that's ethical for us to do so, that we have permission to do so, how we're purging and getting rid of it once we're done with it. I'm going to mention this later, but all of our degrees have 5-year accelerated programs as options. So you can pursue a 4-year degree and then stay an extra year to earn an advanced master's degree. So 2 degrees and less time it would take to pursue both. But in our in our applied data information science program, our master's degree in this area has a concentration in sports analytics that's very popular because of where we're located in Indianapolis with the NCAA and all of our sports teams. There's a lot of really cool data and sports internship opportunities for our students. One of our alums just got a job with the Milwaukee Bucks, if you've heard of them, and she does data analytics for them as her full-time job. So this is a newer degree. I only have job information from our graduate students, but 94% of them have a job at graduation, making close to $80,000 in that first job out of college. They're getting jobs with some big tech companies and titles like big data consultant, data analyst, data scientist, and more. Now, we are offering a brand new program this year in artificial intelligence. IUPUI is actually offering 3 at once and just started a brand new research center completely focused on AI. So there's a lot of AI happening at IUPUI right now. We have a degree in AI in robotics and engineering, so integrating software and hardware, making smart robots. We got a degree in artificial intelligence and computer science and machine learning, so understanding all the complex math that allows a piece of software to learn information. And then in our program, we are focusing on artificial intelligence and informatics and user design. So designing AI systems to work with people. A great example I like to give is that I have an Android Samsung smartphone. It has built in a personal assistant that you can't uninstall or turn off, named Bixby. And I hate everything about it. It's a really poorly designed piece of technology. It doesn't understand me when I talk. I try to give it commands, and it never has once successfully given me directions or called the right person. And I wish I could just delete it from my phone. But our students will be examining, okay, all these things are design issues that are preventing a user from using a really cool piece of technology. So how could we fix this? How could we design it to understand people better, to do more tasks, and to just overall be more useful? And that's what our students are studying in our artificial intelligence program. And I want to switch gears here for a second and talk about our 2 programs related to the medical world and computing and informatics. So IUPUI itself is a huge medical campus. We have the IU School of Medicine, largest med school in the country. We've got 5 hospitals within a mile radius of our campus. We've got a dental school, a school of public health, nursing, health and human sciences with physical therapy. We got a lot of resources here. And we have 2 degrees that are kind of tapping into how technology and the medical world interact. So our first degree here is in Biomedical Informatics. And in this area, you're going to take classes in biology, chemistry, and genetics, and classes in computer programming, software development, databases, machine learning. You're going to be combining these 2 areas together of knowledge and skill to help advance medical research. I won't show this video, but on our YouTube, we have a video of one of our current seniors, Neil Sangani. He is working in a genetics lab as a student. And what he's doing is he's comparing the genetic information of patients who have cancer versus patients who don't. And he is using data analytics to try and determine what genes are different between the 2 patients, and maybe trying to pinpoint what is that gene that could then be causing that patient's cancer. So it's a complete reimagining of how we're conducting medical research, because so much of this now happens using computers and data analytics first before we're going into clinical trials and things like that. So that's some stuff happening in biomedical informatics. But this degree has 3 paths you can go down. You can do a pre-med track. So if you want to go to med school one day, you can pick up all the classes you need in that track. Bioinformatics is focusing on smaller scale data, so really manipulating information around genetics, chemicals, individual patient data. And then health informatics, which is larger scale information across hospital systems, states, countries. We had some of our graduates in the health informatics program actually working on COVID-19 dashboards for the state of Indiana. So it's just some more examples of work happening by our students in this area. And this is a newer program, and it's pretty unique. It's one of 3 like it in the country. But our graduate students in this area, 100% of them have a job at graduation. They're making about $70,000 in that first job out of college. They're being hired by some big tech companies as well as hospitals and research laboratories. And they're getting job titles like bioinformatics scientist, biomedical data scientist, and more. Now, the second degree we have to offer related to the medical world is our health information management degree. Bit different, less research, less taking classes in biology and chemistry, but this degree is training you how to help hospitals manage all of the data they're responsible for. Because hospitals are collecting your medical history, your billing information, your insurance information, your social security number, your contact info, all these things that are pretty critical, pieces of information. So in this program, you're going to take classes in medical billing and coding, learning how to code things in the medical system so you get, you get billed the right amount. We're also going to take business administration classes, healthcare administration classes, some legal classes, and all these things are to prepare you to help work in a hospital environment, managing data and information. Now, this degree has actually been going on for over 70 years now, has a completely online track and an in-person track, and 82% of these students have a job at graduation. They're making about $43,000 in that first job out of college. All right. I have one more major I want to talk to you about today before we talk about applying and other things we have going on. So the last degree I want to talk about is our Media Arts and Science program. And at first glance, this may not seem like it fits in with everything I've talked about today, but it does. This degree is teaching you how to use emerging digital media technologies and how to use them to create experiences, whether that's for the entertainment world or whether it's for more serious purposes. So in your first year in this program, you're going to take some intro classes that'll expose you to careers in digital media. Then sophomore through senior year, you get to choose a specialization, and most of your classes will be in that area. So you can choose from 3D graphics and animation, game design and development, video production and sound design, web design and development, and something called digital storytelling. We also call this digital marketing or branding. This degree also has a double major option with the informatics program, the first degree I talked about, to be a full stack developer. And what that means is it's training you both front end and back end website and mobile app development. And having both of those skill sets can be very lucrative out there in the job market. Some of our students who've gone down that path and made over $100,000 in their first job out of college. So there's not a lot of room in that program. You got to take all these classes in order, but it's going to prepare you to do 2 kind of jobs at once. Now, I know that seems like the videos have been a little bit glitchy, but I do want to show you another one that with some examples of student work. I'm going to talk over this one as well, but I want to show you the stuff our students are making in this program. So in our 3D graphics and animation track, it is training students to 3D model objects, texture them, rig and design their skeletons, and then determine how they're going to be animated. But if you have that skill set, a lot of industries want you. We have a team of student researchers who are 3D modeling planes and ships for the Navy, and using those models to actually train the Navy's AI radar systems to learn how to detect those shapes. Now, a lot of our students are actually getting internships with companies doing social media marketing, brand strategy, working on commercial spots. So if you can 3D model and animate something, a lot of commercials use those same technologies. Because of where we're located, there's a number of museums by us, and we have students who will actually get internships with museums, digitizing things in their collections, creating 3D replicas of objects they have, and actually putting them in VR and virtual reality and creating virtual reality museum exhibits. VR is a big technology in this program. We've got HTC Vives, Oculus Rifts, and Oculus Quest 2s in our 2 lab spaces. And our students have used VR to create training simulations for emergency nurses, for firefighters, using heat lamps to simulate different kinds of fires, even for coal miners, teaching them how to escape a collapsed mine. 3D printing is also a tool that's being used in this program. We have 2 3D printing labs with MakerBot printers. You just submit a form online and our tech team will print your design for you. You do have to pay for the cost of materials yourself. But this right here is an example of a senior capstone project. She 3D modeled and printed teaching tools to use in doctors' offices to help talk to patients about cervical cancer. Now, I talked a little already about like full stack development, but this is a good visual representation of front end and back end development. Front end refers to what you and I see when we visit a website, the programming languages that govern how information is represented, how interactive a website is, and how it hosts media. Back end refers to programming languages that govern how a website pulls data from a server so it can load quickly. Now, this is an example of student work done by one of our students in the game design and 3D graphics and animation program. She graduated in spring 2020, and she now works for Rockstar Games, which is a AAA game company that makes Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead Redemption. She works for them as a lighting artist, and as a student, she really focused on designing environments and lighting and objects that tell a story. Now, our video students are super busy. They are doing commercials for nearby companies. They're working on YouTube videos. I just watched an interview with one of our students who graduated this past spring in 2021. He now works for the NFL, and he works every single Colts home game here in Lucas Oil Stadium, doing video on the sidelines. He also produces video for social media content for the Colts. He also flew to Italy this past year to work on videos for Formula One racing. So video is a primary way that we're communicating now as a species, and our students are doing really cool things with that. So that's some examples of work by our students. But our students graduating from this program, 85% of them have a job at graduation. They're making about $65,000 on average in that first job out of college. They're getting jobs with some companies you may have heard of before, like PlayStation, Pixar. Alchemy Labs is a game company that made Job Simulator and Vacation Simulator, if you've ever heard of those. We also have 6 of our alumni working in an architect's office where they 3D model buildings. And we have 3 of our alumni who actually work for the YouTube studio that makes Crash Course. If you ever watched those videos produced by John and Hank Green and their studio, that is actually located here in Indianapolis. And we've got 3 of our alums working there. But our students are having job titles like animator, virtual reality, military simulations, concept artist, and more. All right, so that's the last degree I wanted to talk to you all about today, but I do want to mention some other things as well. First of all, we've got that 5-year accelerated program built out for all of our programs. You don't have to choose if you want to go down that path as a senior in college. You choose to do that when you're a junior in college, a senior in high school, I meant. But just something to keep in mind, because not every university has as many options to earn 2 degrees in a shorter amount of time. Now, this circle here in the middle, this is a brand new boot camp that we started to offer for the first time this fall. It's 16 weeks online, asynchronous, so you actually go at your own pace, but there's weekly due dates and check-ins to make sure you're learning the right material. It is in multi-device development, which is web and mobile app development. And you earn it in 1 semester. It's available for high school graduates, current college students, and also adults who might want to learn a new skill. And it's meant for people who have no experience. So it's going to start you with the basics of HTML all the way to creating a working mobile app application. So just started that this fall, and we're really excited about it. All right, so I want to take a couple minutes here to talk about just getting admitted at Next Steps. I'm going to drop this link in the chat again here. This is a form you can fill out if you want to get some more information from me about your major of interest, or if you want to get that free application code if you're a senior and if you haven't applied to IUPUI yet. But let's talk about applying and what that looks like. So if you are a senior, Our application is open now for next fall. You can use the Common App or our own application, which is the Apply IU app. We are a test optional university. So when you go to apply, we're going to ask for a short personal essay. There's like 5 prompts you can choose from. There's going to be a fee of $65 to apply, or you can use my fee waiver code. We'll ask for your official high school transcript to be sent to us, and then you can choose whether or not you want to submit your test scores, the SAT or ACT score. So completely up to you. If you don't submit it, we'll just look at your high school transcript and essay for admission. We're pretty open about what it takes to be admitted to IUPUI. A 2.8 high school GPA will get you admitted, but maybe not directly into your major. So to be directly admitted to the majors I talked about today, a 3.0 will get you in, a 3.2 for those medical related programs. But after you've been admitted, it's time to start thinking about scholarships and how you're going to pay for college. When you're looking at financial aid, that can include a lot of things. Make sure you're submitting the FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid. That's how you get considered for any need-based aid. Scholarships can be offered by the university you're applying to, or even by nonprofits or school systems or other organizations. So this slide just has a couple scholarships offered by IUPUI, and IUPUI has 3 main kinds. First of all, we have automatic merit-based scholarships, purely based off of GPA, that's between $1,000 to $3,000 a year. Informatics will give you an additional $1,000 a year if you have at least a 3.2 GPA. We also have an honors college. They have an early deadline of November 15th. It just passed for current seniors. They offer scholarships that range from half tuition to full tuition, room and board. They're a little competitive, but if you have a 3.75 GPA, you're open to apply to those scholarships. Then the third kind is everything else. So IUPUI has diversity-based scholarships, major-based, community service-based, international scholarships, and all of those are on one central application that will be due February 15th your senior year. Now, I know I'm throwing a lot of dates and deadlines at you, but once you apply or you reach out for more information, you'll get help. You'll get friendly reminder emails from myself in the admissions office alerting you about these upcoming deadlines. I know your email inboxes are probably very overwhelming, especially if you're a senior, but there is some good stuff in there, I promise. I want to take a moment and talk about some additional resources we have. So I've talked a bit about research, but a lot of our undergraduate students get involved in research. We've got 2 study abroad programs now, one that goes to the island of Paros in Greece and one that goes to Germany. And those are just 2 that are related specifically to informatics majors, but there's 50 other ones at IUPUI as well. IUPUI has over 500 student organizations, but we have 21 focused on our programs, including we have Gamers Hall, which has our esports teams, Bioinformatics Club, the Game Developers Group. So lots of ways to get involved related to your major. Now, IUPUI has 4 dorms you can live in, 2 of which are reserved for freshmen only, and there is a floor in one of those dorms that you can choose to live in that's just for informatics and computing students. So if you're nervous about coming to a big campus, living on campus, not knowing anybody, this is a smaller community full of students that might share a lot of classes with you or at least a lot of interests. Now, I'm going to exit out of my presentation, and I want to show you some other stuff. First of all, we have a YouTube channel, and it's just informatics, IUPUI, you'll find us. But on here, we have a virtual tour of our building. We have a game design lab. We've got a video production lab and some other cool spaces you can look at. We have student stories. So here is a student story of one of our students who designed a new nose using 3D modeling software for a patient who had lost his nose due to cancer. We have reels of student work. So these are like compilations of some of the best student work per program in the media arts and science degree. And then all of our graduating students have to complete a capstone project and present it at capstone night. So if you fill out that form, I'll send you an invitation to capstone night. That is coming up on December 10th. That's a Friday, 4 to 8 p.m. on IUPUI's campus. This will be 4 hours of students standing behind tables that have big monitors and VR headsets and prototypes and 3D prints, where you can just walk around and talk to people about their projects. And they are doing amazing things. So we have a couple examples of capstone projects on our YouTube channel. This is like a level one of our students 3D modeled. Here's a comic book one of our students made. This is a very cool one. It is a VR simulation training coal miners on how to escape a collapsed mine. This is a training simulation for referees learning how to make calls. So there's definitely some interesting stuff here to see what our students are doing. So definitely follow us on YouTube. You can see a lot of the actual student work. But I also want to show you our website. So it's just soic.iupui.edu. You'll find us. But I encourage you to come visit us. We have a virtual tour on our website as well. You can see all of that video, but also like interactive tours of our lab spaces. You can actually kind of walk around in here and see the technology we have. We also do, we had a high school open house this October. You can visit IUPUI and add on a tour of the informatics building. We have a student panel coming up tomorrow, and we do a couple of those a semester, and then we do one-on-one visits. So at any time, if you want to come see campus, meet with me, get a tour, meet a professor, you can schedule that with me, and I'll set that up for whenever you're available. Two other things I want to mention before we go to questions is we also have summer camps. So these are in the summer, June and July for high school students. They focus on game design, data analytics, animation, and they're a week long and they're taught by our professors. The cost is $229 a week, but we do have full need-based scholarships available. One other thing I want to mention before I'm going to open it up to questions is we have a mobile app competition just for high school students. No experience needed. It's more of coming up with an idea of an app that would solve a problem, but you could win up to $150 in cash prizes and up to $2,000 in scholarships. All right, so I am going to pull up a page with our majors here so you can see those all again. And then I think we've got some questions. Okay, awesome. Ooh, we got some great questions in here. Okay, so we see a question on what career should I do if I have a creative mindset, like video games and experience with technology. I would definitely look at our major in media arts and science. It's going to give you an overall idea of different kind of careers you can have related to creativity and technology, and then it will push you to specialize. You could then choose to focus on game design, on 3D graphics and animation, on video production, but our media arts and science program will expose you to all these different careers you can go into. So I see a question on is it too late to apply for priority admission? The answer is no. I encourage you to apply as soon as possible. We encourage seniors to apply by November 1st, but that's really so you don't miss that honors college deadline. But the next deadline I would say is apply by February 15th, because that's when the rest of our scholarships are due. So if you apply now, you'll get your admissions decision just in time to apply for those scholarships. So you still have time. So I see a question about what are the requirements for enrolling into these majors at IUPUI. You need to be admitted, and that's the big one. Just submitting that application, getting admitted to the university, having that 3.0 GPA, but we do not require a portfolio. We do not require you to have experience in high school. A lot of our students coming in don't have that experience. So those are the basic requirements. Okay, I see another question on what major does machine programming fall into too? So there's a couple options. You could go into computer engineering if you want to focus more on hardware. There's a degree in computer science. That's a Purdue degree. It's much more programming and theory around programming heavy. So that's what I would look at. So what major does software development fall into? You can look at our computer science degree, but our informatics program also touches on software development as well. Okay, so I see a question, what video games does the esports team play? So they have a Rocket League team. They do a lot of Smash Brothers. They have an Overwatch team. I think they had a Fortnite team for a little while. Those are the big ones I know of, but they do compete around the state of Indiana. So they are pretty serious, and they actually practice together like more than once a week. And then I see a question, what is your job? So I'm our Associate Director of Recruitment. So my entire job is to meet with students, to talk to them about our programs, and to help you have all the information you need to make a decision on where you want to go to college. So that is my job. My job is to give presentations, talk to students. I run our summer camps, our event opportunities, and I'm really here to help you answer any questions that you might have. So we have 1 minute remaining, and you all have just been amazing in interacting and asking questions. But I encourage you, if you want any more information, you can fill out that form. I'll respond to you. And then I'd love to see you on campus sometime. All right, that's the end of my time. Thank you all so much for being here.